welcome to the Milsurf Mike channel. I'm going to do a quick video response to History of Weapons. He also has a much larger channel called God, Family, and Guns. He's in the general KC area, and he frequents a pretty cool gun shop in town that usually has a lot of cool milsurps. But he recently did a video where he had the 10 gun designers that he's most thankful for. And I just want to make a quick video response to that. Now it's the 10 gun designers that he's most thankful for, so keep that in mind. But there are a few that I'd like to add to that, and maybe just nitpick a couple of them just a little bit. But like 5 or 6 of them are absolute no-brainers. Browning, Stoner, the Mauser brothers, Kalashnikov, Glock, Dieudonné Saive, and that's how you pronounce his name. When I originally came across him when I did my high power video, my FAL and high power videos a long time ago, I wanted to make sure that I pronounced his name correctly because he is somebody that's important enough in gun history that I want to make sure I was getting correct information out there. And I made sure I asked Ian McCollum how you pronounce his name, and he typed out a good phonetic spelling for me. So it's Dieudonné Saive is how you pronounce his name. But one little nitpick I will have with a History of Weapons video is that he brings up, Browning, that without him, you don't have the high power, because what was on Browning's table when he died and what became the high power were definitely two different things, and that's all thanks to Dieudonné Saive. Well, and part of it's the Colt patents being released. But one thing that History of Weapons neglected to mention was Mr. Saive also designed the greatest battle rifle of the 20th century, the FAL. He also designed the FN-49, which is kind of the precursor to this, and kind of lucky that he made it to Great Britain before the Germans got a hold of him in World War II, or they would have had a very good battle rifle, in the semi-auto battle rifle in the FN-49, but he went up to Great Britain, and it kind of languished up there, although he did push the high power, and it went to Canada, so he got a lot of Canadian high powers from Inglis and all that. But like I said, later on you get the greatest battle rifle of the 20th century in the FAL produced out of him. So he is very important, and I'd just like to stress that he may be actually a little more important than History of Weapons let out to be. Now, he mentioned Kalashnikov, and one glaring omission, I think, from his list is Mr. John C. Garand, who, of course, came up with the M1 Garand. And yes, I say Garand for the man, and I say Garand for the rifle, because that's just what the servicemen and everybody in the U.S. called it was the Garand in the 1940s and the 50s. So, and that's kind of how the CMP goes too, is that you refer to the man as Garand and you refer to the rifle as Garand. I know there are people that'll argue that, but that's how I do it. But anyway, without the M1 Garand, you don't get the AK-47, because Kalashnikov himself in his own autobiography gives the M1 Garand a lot of credit, because there are a lot of design similarities, especially on the bolt-and-bolt carrier, from the M1 Garand, and he gives that credit. And a great video to see on that was made by Brandon Herrera here not too long ago. So I'll leave a link to that below, because if you want to learn a little bit about a history, about the tie kind of between the Garand and the AK-47, watch Herrera's video on that. And also, along with the AK, I'd like to mention another man, Sasha Zaitsev. He's kind of with Stoner, you have L. James Sullivan, who with Stoner's design, he would come up with the designs, and it'd be L. James Sullivan who brought him to life, basically. Like everything from like the AR-7 to the AR-10, and especially the AR-15. You don't have the AR-15 without L. James Sullivan. Well, with the AK-47, Kalashnikov kind of had a man like that named Sasha Zaitsev, Z-A-Y-T-S-E-V, so Sasha Zaitsev. Without him, I believe you don't have a lot of the AK-47 designs either. Going back to Stoner, like I said, you definitely need to mention Melvin Johnson and L. James Sullivan. Melvin Johnson with the Johnson rifle, and also the Johnson machine gun later on. He worked at Armalite the same time that Stoner did, and there are some design aspects from the Johnson rifle that show up in the AR-10. So I believe you don't get the AR-10 or the AR-15 without Melvin Johnson, and definitely not L. James Sullivan. One omission, I think, or actually two omissions, I think, from his list are Carl Walther and Tullio Marangoni. Carl Walther is him and his team are who produced the or designed the P-38 Walther, and this, to me, more than the high power, is the basis of the modern Wonder 9. The high power, yes, has the double stack magazine, but the insides of this is the basis of the Wonder 9. And Tullio Marangoni, he worked for Beretta from the 19 teens all the way into the 50s. He designed the venerable 1934 that Italy used in World War II, and a lot of Allied soldiers like to keep this as kind of a boot gun or a backup gun when they captured it. But Tullio Marangoni also basically put the insides of the P-38 Walther inside his, the classic Beretta design, came up with the Beretta 1951. You add a double stack to that, you basically have the Beretta 90 series. So, to me, without Fritz Walther and without Tullio Marangoni, you actually don't have a lot of the Wonder 9s that you have later on. And of course, the Beretta 92 is a cultural icon, especially in the 80s, and of course it replaced the 1911 as the U.S. service pistol and replaced the model 1950 for France's service pistol. One last thing, when he mentioned Gaston Glock, of course Glock made a very good gun, and I plan on making a Gaston Glock biography and kind of review of this. This is the Lipsy's P80 replica. So I plan on making a video with this and a biography of Glock as the basis. And one little nitpick I will have with History of Weapons video, though, is that he said, he called it Glock's invention, the polymer frame striker fired, but this actually existed 12 years before Gaston's invention, the HKV VP70. Now, this is nowhere near as good as the Glock. I mean, this has a worse trigger pull than a high point. It kind of looks like a screwed up high point. But it has a worse trigger pull than the high point. It's double action only, but still, it's the first polymer frame striker fired pistol out there. So anyway, as I said, his video was his opinion on who he's thankful for. I'm just adding a few in there that I'm thankful for and that should be considered on any top 10 list. Now, I know, my additions would make it go over top 10, but like I said, it's just kind of a response video to him. Thank you for watching. Please join the GOA, get $5 off your membership with the link below. I'm going to leave a link to History of Weapons video down below so you can check that out. Thank you for watching, and as always, have a great day.